So hello ladies and gentlemen and welcome back to Star Trek Online, where we're going to get started on the Klingon front after I select live scene. And you should now be hearing the music and stuff. I will be quickly going down a social manage team, and I think you can set the teams to open and stuff. Open teaming, match my difficulty, or any difficulty. So open teaming, if anybody else has got that on the mission that I'm doing, it should automatically let them join, so who knows how that will go. We ended up yesterday in there when it was time for me dinner. But what we're going to do before we actually go on the Klingon front is we're going to go down here where we get our new ships and things. Because you have ship requisitions where you buy equipment for them. You don't get anything special in these, it's just like plain white common trash. But it is a place where you can get quantum torpedo. No, well, apparently not where you can get quantum torpedoes. Maybe they've changed that. This is where you select what ship you want, if you've got any more ships. You've got starships and you've got small craft like shuttlecraft and little fighters. Haven't got any of those yet. This is where you requisition your new ships. When you reach certain ranks, you'll get starship tokens, and you can use them in place of what was originally energy credits and then was changed to refined dilithium when the game went free to play. So these are the, let's say tier 1 ships, but I call them tier 0 because they're the starting ships. You got Constitution cruisers, a light escort, which is the NX class from Enterprise. Of course, that's the original series. Light science vessel. And you got the light cruiser, the one you start with. The ones you buy with Zen usually come with modules, which have special abilities like that. Will have a grappling hook. I'm not sure what that one has. We can probably check. Yeah, it has 2 blue retrofitted phaser banks, which are scaling. You go to Tech 2. This is where you'll start getting your proper ships in the game. Like you got the Constitution refit. You got a specialised Constitution refit, I suppose you could say. A cruiser. A variant, maybe. You got a light escort, which I think they appeared around the Next Generation era, but they may have been out earlier. Got another more powerful take on that, and then you got science vessels, temporal science vessels, all with their own special powers. Like I think this one, the science vessel refit, can go kind of out of phase with the universe and stops taking damage and stuff for a certain amount of time. But we're not going to bother with those just yet. We're going to go to ship customization. This is where it's at. This is where you can customize the ship you got with the different parts. Because you can probably see there are different variations of the ships. Of course, some of them are like the Reliant. That's more than, yeah, cost 6,000 Zen, so that's probably from a pack. You can change them by your RT. You can change the material they're made out of, so you can have them looking pretty much however you want. I'm going to go with fairly classic plain white. You can change the type of windows you can see in it. Not that this particular hull has a whole lot of windows, but a few underneath. Well, that could be because of the material that it's made out of. No, it's just not got many windows on this one. Something like the Galaxy class, I think that's tier 4, will have hundreds of windows. You can change the colour of decals that are on it. I'm just going to keep it standard, or fairly standard. Light blue. Let's make it a little darker blue, the second colour. In fact, no red. Star Trek does seem to have red, I forgot what they're called, but decals. You can see there with the, is that the official Federation Delta? Which I think was added after Star Trek, the original series. I can't remember. You got lots of different details you can have on it as well. You can really semi-customize it how you want it to look. And you can change. Is there any difference between the Miranda and the Miranda? Ah, yes, slightly different. I'll admit I do like the Reliant variant of it. Pretty cool looking. Let's go with the Miranda Beta, the struts, which there aren't really a whole lot of difference. But you can change them quite well, so you don't have to have all of the ships looking the same, but find one which you think looks cool. It means we are a science ship, and I'm not sure they're supposed to be weapons. They may be sensory units, sensor pods or something. Let's go with that. I think the strut on top is supposed to be a photon torpedo platform. So you can see the two square bits on the central pontoon thing. They're where photon torpedoes would come out. And there's two on the back as well. So forward and aft facing photon torpedo tubes. Pylons, you can change what these look like. You can have it looking very short, very swift, very tight, and very short. I've always liked this particular look, like that. I don't know why, I just do. So that's what I'm gonna have. And then nacelles. You can have the different types of nacelles, like a refit type with the glowing blue bits. Miranda beaters. That's pretty much what we're going to have. You can also change the interior's layouts. This is just a small ship, so we're going to have a small interior layout. You can have like what the bridge looks like, but you've got like ones from different Voyager. You got the original Constitutions, and as we get further into the game and we unlock more ships, we'll also unlock more types of these, more interiors. Of course, most of them are like copies of the official ones from different series, but they do cost Zen to buy. But you do also get a lot of reskins of different ones. Let's go with the sleek look. I mean, that's just, Origin is just plain too big for this small little ship. I think sleek's a bit too big, but what are you going to do? Anyway, this is what our initial starship is going to look like. So now we'll be flying around space, shooting Klingons in a very nice looking ship. And if I had some money, which I don't, because it's a new start, remember, I would probably go where you can buy the different skills for the different characters and buy some of those ready for when I can equip them, but I can't yet, so let's just return to the ship. My coffee has probably gone cold by now. I need to spend like 15 minutes setting this all up, ready to play. It was lukewarm. Lukewarm coffee. Not great, but not particularly bad either. All these people playing the game. All these nice ships. Yeah. Yeah, 25 level above me, so that is the Akira class and not a higher tiered, more powerful ship. You'd wait, let's warp out to sector space. Get ready to go and save the SS Anne. I think that was what it was called, the SS Anne.
My friend sacrificed so much to secure peace with the Klingons. I bear the responsibility for the consequences to him and his crew. A thought that troubles me to this day. The hope was that this alliance would last forever. It did not. The Klingons have chosen war. The Federation is doing its utmost to protect its borders and the billions of innocents who call this space home. But I fear that this conflict may be our undoing.
Some nice voiceover by Leonard Nimoy. God rest his soul. Somewhat sad to think this game was made, and still, well, not sad, it's nice to know that this game was made while he was still alive and he could take part. Since then, there've been a lot of the...
To any ships in range, this is Dana Brott of the transport SS Azura. Please help! Warp core containment field down! Radiation flooding ship! Communications and life support failing! Cannot eject warp core! Need immediate evacuation and assistance! Please help us!
As I was saying, slightly out of RP, but you remember... Well, completely forgot my track of thought, what I was saying. I'm still mostly asleep, I'm hungry, it's... yeah. So, Leonard Nimoy was, did the voiceovers at the beginning of the game. Lots of the way through the original parts, right the way up to what was endgame content. And then as the game continued, the developers and then Cryptic, when they took it over, got more and more of the people which were involved in the series, the original series, all the way up through to Star Trek Voyager. I'm surprised they haven't actually got damn it, well, I've forgot his name. He played Archer, or any of the Star Trek Enterprise cast to come in and do some voiceovers. So that'd be nice. But as we go through the game, those Trekkies out there who hopefully will watch will recognise, who, if they haven't actually played the game, which I think is probably fairly unlikely, will recognise some familiar faces. Okay, let's go to the SS Azura and see what's up. See if we can help. And two people seem to be in watching. Feel free to comment and we'll get a little conversation going. While we wait on the load screens. Not as bad as in some games, but they're still load screens. Not as bad as when I first started playing this game on PC when it first came out. My PC was a real potato back then. I had to play the game at its max.
To any ships in range, this is Dana Brott of the transport SS Azura.
On its absolute minimum settings, so it didn't look great, but it still played, it was still fun.
Please help! We're being pursued by Orion raiders. Crew injured, taking heavy fire. Dropping out of warp near your coordinates. Need immediate evacuation and assistance. Please help us!
Travell, keep tracking that distress signal. I do apologise if I'm not seeming very peppy. I've been on and off with a cold the last couple of weeks, and I have a feeling it's coming back, so I'm just drained constantly. Anyway, sir, sensors are picking up several light attack craft on the intercept course. I'm surprised that wasn't voiced. We will need to deal with them before we can render aid to the SS Azura. Defeat the Orion raiders threatening the SS Azura. Well, the Azura. Full power to shields. Helm, take us in range. Way down where they go. If you're close to when a ship explodes, you do take damage from its warp core breach. Romulan ships are even worse because they use singularities, like little mini black holes, and they can damage quite a lot. Magnesite. This is for R&D. And the other systems, you have breach officers, which, duty officers, the DOF system, which you can do stuff with. And then you have, when you reach Admiral rank, you have a ship-based version of that. And that uses every ship you've ever piloted as the ships you can use. It's a long way off being able to show you. Hey, accolade, mining survey. It's somewhat less so in the console versions because you can set when certain powers will go off. We just set that to execute whenever possible. I think it lasts for like 30 seconds and has a recharge rate of about 30 seconds, so... Oh yes, I forgot, it doesn't actually work if that's a skill that's selected. So I'll have to get another skill. Scan the SS. Actually, was there another? Ah, yeah, another magnesite ore. I do like how it says that what it is now. It used to just say an anomaly, and it'd be completely random what you would get. It is a good idea to collect these as you go, because when you unlock the research and development system, which you use for crafting and stuff, it's where you learn the highest tier of skills. Because let's have a gander here. Crew station skills. You can see torpedoes high yield 1. You can get up to high yield 2, but you can't learn high yield 3. The same for a lot of the different skills. You need skill books that you craft to get them. There might actually be some on the market which people have made, but when I first played this game on PS4 when it first came out, the research and development for like 3 or 4 months wasn't in the game yet. They were still working on porting it over from the PC. So everybody was running around doing endgame content with less than fully decked out ships. It was surprisingly fun. It was a challenge. Captain, I'm detecting elevated radiation levels on the Azura. I've alerted the transporter chief for the situation. She can brief you before you beam over to the Azura. Away team, report to the transporter room. Here we go. We got our entire crew. our entire senior staff, which I'm not sure it's clever to take your entire senior staff on an away mission, because then your ship would be kind of screwed. The person healed themselves then, I think, and it surprised me because it looked like their name was suddenly called Ill. Why was she damaged anyway? I genuinely have no idea why she was damaged. Captain, I'm concerned about the radiation on the Azura. She might have some damage to the warp core, but our sensors can't pick up enough to determine exactly what you'll find over there. I'm sure I can send you and the away team to the ship safely, but getting you back might be a problem until the Azura's critical damage is repaired. Step on the transporter pad when you're ready, and be careful, sir. Try to keep a lock on us and prepare to transport survivors. Here, I suppose we would probably take a little transport enhancing little pin you basically put on somebody and it will transport them out, kind of like the comm badges. That's usually one of the things the comm badges are for. So if they can't get a direct signal for interference, the comm badges have a kind of built-in mini signal thing, which is easier to get the lock on, and then the lock on to any life signs attached to it. So I'm picking up multiple life signs. Some of them are Azure Captain's crew, but the rest are Orion. Plasma leaks are blocking our path to the survivors. We will need to use the console to safely vent the plasma. Rescuing survivors is our top priority. Also, not dying, but that can come second. Nope, not quite that. Oh look, accolades, science. Yeah, you should probably, when you get to a new map, probably check the current mission objectives. Usually on PC, oh, they do appear there. Accolade, science, heal injured crew. Because I've missed a few of them before because they didn't appear, so maybe they've changed that so that the accolades that you can get will appear. If I had, as I mentioned in the last episode, if I had some friends playing on with me, which I don't have, unfortunately. My friends don't like Star Trek as much as I do, which is a shame. I've got one, but I doubt I could get him to come join me because I don't think he's got an Xbox One. Which is a shame. Yeah. Anyway, if I had an engineer and a tactical captain playing with me, they could do their accolades, and I would get those accolades once they've done them, and they would get my one once I'd done it. Open the container and see what we get. A small hypo, that will come in handy. Actually, can I oh, I've got another power as well. Medical tricorder. Auto when health is less than 50%, yes. I'll use that when health is less than 20%. So I should always be healed. And I have oh, I knew I'd forgotten something. Captain skills. Right, you have traits as well, and these when you pick a certain class, race, you'll get racial traits. Like these things will be decided for you. Some of them are like hardwired into them. Say if your character was I don't know, Vulcan or something, they might have certain ones hard coded in. You can't really remove them. Being an alien, I don't start with 3, I start with 4. I don't have a dedicated racial trait, so I can get rid of whichever ones I don't want. So if I was tactical, I could put in, as my ground traits, lots of offensive type ones. Same for space. Can I unequip them? Well, not while we're in battle, but after we've done this level, I'll be removing these and putting, although this isn't bad. I'm at the point where I really need to start specialising into anything. As a science officer, it'd probably be going into heals and exotic energy damage, because that's where most of my power will be coming from, exotic energy. Because I'm science. I don't know if I'm going to spec into medical science or the other sciences yet, Because medical science is it's healing, buffing, and debuffing. Well, healing and buffing, while the other science aspect would be like debuffing and damage over time, that kind of thing. Weakening the enemies, so it's easier for us. If I was in a group, I would probably try and specialise between them. But because we have our bridge officers with me, I may spec into debuffing and let them do the healing. But at the same time, have a build ready. By can't do that. Marcher Horizon, I'm sending you to the transporter room. Transport them to sick bay as soon as possible.
Sorry, Captain, the radiation levels are too high. I can't get a lock. I'll keep trying, sir. Have the survivors wait on the pad, and I'll transport them as soon as I can.
Not sure if that was actually what she said, but okay. Captain, yes. It would pay to have like a bunch of these kits ready to swap over if you were to play with a group, especially if you're doing hard content. I also have two weapons now. I have my split beam, which is good for the expose attack, for the export attack, and I have a machine one, an auto rifle, which is good to expose enemies. And maybe on this we'll be able to show you what it's like. Get to the transporter room. So I'm actually telling them to get to the transporter room. Before, I think you just transported them over. Although it might be because I haven't done the rest of the stuff yet. And that's just another way. If you wait till the end, like when you're running out of the ship. Did it show you as being red there for a second, Zava? Okay. Fire! Lock on, and right bumper. They're all a little bit weak at the moment. I might increase the difficulty for a bit. Of course, when I get further into the game, if I haven't got other people with me, I'll probably decrease the difficulty, because the difficulty does scale quite harshly up when you get to certain points. Like certain enemies are a lot more effective than others. Because I've hardly taken any damage. Later on, when I'm at level 40, walking into that room, it would have taken like 3 times as long to beat them, and I would have probably taken a bit of a beating. Titanium ore, let's get this and see what oh, it's the same one. I suppose all of these are just waveform modulations. This will be relaxedly playing the game while reading out the stuff and commenting and that. Who knows, maybe I'll get some people in the chat one day who will say, "This is great, what part are you up to? You mind if I join you?" This has happened on other games. What should I do now, sir? Go to the transporter room. I have cleared a way out. So I only need to heal 3 of the injured crew. Well, no, I'm thinking of a different mission. You have to run around on like the map and find all of the injured people and heal them to get an accolade for that. And I remember it being a bit annoying because it was kind of hard to find where everybody was. Machine guns. Apply treatment by scanning them with a medical tricorder.
Thank you, Lieutenant.
What should I do now? Get to the transporter room. Probably a good idea. And yay! When we've finished this mission, I should get the accolade now. I don't think the accolade will actually register until the end. You can actually check that by going to Mission Journal. Nope. Oh, they're not all stacked together anymore. Exploration, would it be? No. General accolades? Welcome to no. Stalwart. 100-day vet. I did link this to the thingy, but I didn't do this on PS4. I didn't give me my vet stuff. The game, when it first came out, was subscription based, so when you used to subscribe, you'd when you'd reach certain milestones, you'd get free things, basically. Like pets, access to different areas, like an elite gathering place and stuff. And also like stuff from the C Store, which would appear on the promotions or legacy, I think it would call it on PC, where you could download things. I mean, on my PC I've got Red Matter Capacitor, which was the pre-order content bonus thing. It wasn't actually the one I bought. I bought the game specifically from Game over any of the other stores because I wanted a phaser rifle which apparently could attack them from angles where they couldn't see them or something like that. That gun never actually made it into the game. I think they couldn't get it to work properly, so they scrapped it. Instead I got Red Matter Capacitor, which I was annoyed with at first, but as I played the game I found that it's a lot more useful than an item which was going to be thrown away probably by now in the real game. Because it's basically like it increased all of the power levels of your ship for like 30 seconds. So it's like having a free, quite strong buff, and you could spec your character so that it would last longer and stuff. So it was very good even at endgame. Right, scanning the warp core, Captain. Catastrophic failure of antimatter containment. Warp core breach is imminent. Captain, unless the breach is contained, the Azura will be destroyed. Yes, if you have an engineer with you, you can actually fix the damage and save the Azura. Unfortunately, we don't, and the ship's going to go boom. Of course, we do actually have... Where's Zava? There's Zava there, look, you see, stop running around. We do have Zava with us, which could probably do it, but... meh. It's a way to kind of...
We hit an Orion ambush on our way to K7. We lost our weapons almost immediately, and then we took a direct hit near engineering. Our warp engine's magnetic antimatter containment field failed. We had no choice but to drop shields and use the power to try to stabilize the containment field. As soon as the shields were down, Orions boarded the ship.
Oh no! Yeah, as I was saying, I think it's more a way to force, maybe not force, but to have people like do the missions together. Unfortunately, most people who play the game are like at end game content, so it's fairly unlikely unless I find people who are starting the game again who would join me and do these stuff.
I'll never let those green pirates have the Azura. Please, take my crew to safety. I'll keep trying to stabilize the warp core. If I'm lucky, I can buy you some time.
Of course, I could probably find a fleet to join, but joining a fleet would probably come with requirements I'm really not willing to dedicate to. It's like joining a fleet or a guild in any game. If it's a big one, they probably want you to play at least a couple of hours a day, and there are other games I play, so I can't really dedicate full time to an MMO. And if I did, it would probably be Final Fantasy XIV. Having never actually finished that game. I mean, I got like about 80% through the first lot of content on it. So I would like to know what happens. And you've got loads of extra DLC and stuff, but as I said before, there's a floating rock attached to him. Great. But as I said before, I just don't have the time to dedicate to it. If at some time in the future we were able to grow the channel enough that I could properly support myself on this, then doing Final Fantasy 15 may be a series that we could do. Because if by that point the audience has grown enough that we could have viewers in the guild, and that'd be a lot of fun. We're going to teach them why you don't stand in front of a plasma console. Or I could, if I was a tactical officer. Forgot about that. Yes, this would be the tactical officer's one. You've seen mine, the science one. I heal people. That would be the engineer's accolade. This would be the tactical officer's accolade. he'd redirect plasma and kill the front row of people. Those guys. There you go, vaporized. I did it for you. It's a lot easier to set up on a PC, mainly for the fact that it's easier to target on PC. But, oh, there's crewman. At the same time, having multiple hit weapons is probably a good idea. Yeah, this is the point where if you hadn't like got them before, you could go around and talk to the people and probably beam them straight to the ship. Go to the transporter room. We'll be right behind you. Pick up. Scanning. Awaiting to horizon. Chief, are you ready to transport? The Azura's radiation levels are returning to normal. The survivors of the Azura crew are on the transporter pad. We don't have much time. Get these people off the ship. Now. Should really get those people off the ship now, but hey. Because we're not standing next to them. We have them, sir. Sensors detect more Orion ships on the way, Captain. We need you back on the bridge. Okay, I'll slowly make my way, walking, strutting my way there. Not having many viewers, but I have a feeling it may have something to do with Far Cry 5 has come out either today or yesterday. And while I would really enjoy playing it, I just don't have the money to get it. I'm going to have to return the games I've got rented from Boomerang as well, because I just don't have the money to pay for that. Which is a shame. So basically expect a lot of free-to-play games coming from my channel in the coming months. Or games that I already have, which I do have a few. Captain, incoming message from the Orions, putting it on screen.
Leave now if you know what's good for you, Starfleet. We're taking this ship, her crew, and her cargo.
The Azura and her crew are under Starfleet's protection. Are you sure you want to do this? Take that as a yes. Don't say I didn't give you an out. Cracking. There's a Slave Master battleship. They are quite annoying to face on harder difficulties, or deeper into the game. They're big, they're bulky, and they take a lot of punishment. I think if you look for the now not really active channel Titan Entertainment, it's what me and the friend I mentioned earlier used to do. We've got some Star Trek videos on PC, and his PC was much better than mine at the time, so he could record, stream it and stuff. And you could see how much trouble we had, because we played that on like elite difficulty. It took us like 10-15 minutes just to take down one of those. Didn't help that we'd had like month upon months breaks of not playing it, so it was fun trying to remember what we do. Right, attempting to get transporter lock. We have her, Captain, but unfortunately The SS Azura is scuttled. It's one of the other reasons why I would genuinely like to do this with a full team, because you usually get slightly better outcomes. Or I would think you would, because I've very rarely played this game with a full group. Captain Broth is safely aboard, sir, and just in time too. We've got her just before the ship exploded. Captain Broth has requested that we take her and her crew to sector space. Starfleet will get them home from there. She said she would be happy to speak with you if you wish. And the few times I've gone through the game with a full group, we've tended to all be the same class, and tactical officers just running around drop kicking everybody, quite literally drop kicking everybody. It was quite fun to see. And I'll speak with the captain.
You saved my crew. I'll tell you whatever I can.
What was the Azura's mission?
The Azura was a transport ship, best in the quadrant. Mostly I hauled medical supplies or farming equipment, but I had room in the cargo bays for a little of everything. I have one customer who is just crazy for Tranya.
That's an alcoholic drink, I believe, Tranya.
I don't save the galaxy on a regular basis like you Starfleet types do, but hauling cargo is a good way to make a living. I'm helping people in my own way.
Hello, Scott. Scott is in is in the chat. He says, "Am I the only one terribly excited about Victory's coming soon?" Is that the name for the Jem'Hadar expansion that's coming soon? No, you're not the only one, because I will probably be making another character when that comes out.
You saved my crew. I'll tell you whatever I can.
And tell me about the Orions.
There's thieves, pirates, and a whole lot of trouble if you ask me. Raiders have always been a danger to ships like mine, but the problem has gotten worse since the Orions allied with the Klingons. Now they think they can do anything to anyone. Someone needs to put a stop to these raids.
I have a feeling it may be me. I have another question.
You saved my crew. I'll tell you whatever I can.
What exactly happened to the Azura?
We have been having trouble with the warp core for a few days. I was hoping I could make it to the closest starbase, but...
Yes, it is. Jem'Hadar start at level 60. Ooh, so... it's all just basically endgame content. I wonder... I haven't actually read anything up about it. I'm waiting for the actual thing to be released, so it'll be a surprise, but... that has whetted my appetite. I wonder what it's about. I wonder if it's all P vs P stuff as well. Anyway, continue.
When the containment field started to collapse, I used every bit of power we had to help stabilize it. The minute I rerouted power from the shields to the containment field, the Orions were there. For all I know, they detected I was in trouble and were waiting for the right time to pounce.
I have another question.
You saved my crew. I'll tell you whatever I can.
Oh, Scott, what console or, well, what platform do you play Star Trek Online on? Xbox One, PS4 or PC? I've got it for all free, and this is like, well, I'm just starting over on Xbox, but I've got a few level 60 characters on PS4, I've got loads of level 60 characters on PC. Sector Space Battle Zone. I won't spoil the rest. Ooh. That does sound interesting. Anyway, what would you now?
Go back to Belarus for a few weeks, I suppose. I have enough latinum saved up to get me back on my feet. As soon as I can get another ship, I'll be doing transport runs again. I have customers waiting.
Of which one of them will be me?
You saved my crew. I'll tell you whatever I can.
Thank you. That is all, Captain. Depart the system, Elsa. Engage. I don't mind about when it gets expanded. I do have the PC version of what as well. If it's all space content, I may actually be able to play it. My PC, it's not great. While it's not bad,
well done. You saved that crew.
It doesn't have a graphics card, so its performance is severely stunted at the moment. and getting a graphics card in at the moment is well, I don't have any money, so there's that, and cryptocurrency miners have increased the cost of graphics cards ridiculously. I mean, I checked one which was like £60 UK months ago, is like triple that now. It's crazy.
Congratulations, Lieutenant.
Thank you, Leonard. Diplomatic orders.
We have a diplomatic mission for you. An important Vulcan ambassador is traveling from his homeworld to the monastery at Pajem. Capturing the ambassador would be a major coup for the Klingons or Orions, so we're assigning you to make sure everything goes smoothly. You are to escort Ambassador Soketh to Pajem. Please meet him at Vulcan. Once you locate him, speak with him about the transport mission. Do whatever is necessary to keep him safe.
I will indeed, sir. I mean, if I had my PC was strong enough to play and stream it, I would stream the PC version because I vastly prefer the PC version's interface than consoles. I mean, once you play the console versions, if you've played the PC version before, you really miss tab targeting. I mean, you really miss it. But you do get used to it, and there are some parts of the console versions which are pretty good. You can basically set up macros for the skills as well, so you don't have to worry about them so much. So you can see this here. You can set a torpedo HU to go off whenever it's ready to be used. The same for other skills as well. Of course, they don't work if they're the selected skill in your tray. Of course, I don't have any other skills yet, so they're all the selected skill, and they don't really auto-proc, which is a bit of a shame. And let's make our way to Vulcan. And anyway, Scott, how are you this fine day? Myself, I'm fairly okay. I've been suffering with a bit of a cold the last couple of weeks, and I thought I'd finally kicked it, but I woke up this morning feeling terrible, so it may be coming back. Can you set auto-fire all weapons on consoles? Well, your energy weapons, your phasers, disruptors, and whatever you've got equipped, they will automatically fire. Your torpedoes are with RB. It's actually easier to use the weapon settings on consoles than it is on PC, I've noticed. At the same time, there are some things on consoles which you don't get. Like, you can set your phasers to fire constantly at anything which gets in range on PC, which is very, very good for fighting like mines and ships, like little fighters. But you don't really get that on this. You have to keep looking around, constantly pressing right trigger. And I remember an update where mines went from being fairly damaging to being extremely, and that's a very big ship below me. I could probably fit in its engine bay. Not its engine bay, in its cargo bay. Captain, we've arrived at the Vulcan system. I took the liberty of contacting the ambassador's aide when we arrived. The fellows say that the ambassador has certain arrangements that he prefers while travelling. She would like to go over them with you. Would you like me to put her on the main view screen? Indeed.
Greetings. Thank you for agreeing to escort the ambassador to Pajem. Ambassador Soketh is currently attending a ritual to honor the end of the Kalrek holiday. He will be done soon, but the ambassador is hesitant to use transporter technology. His bias against the transporters is not logical, but I have come to accept it.
His bias against the transporters. Why would he wouldn't use... Why wouldn't he... completely muddling my words. And, thank you for the stream. Yeah, I'm going to be streaming this either every day or every few days. I'm going to probably find other games to stream on the days between. I want to keep having content around the same day, the same time of day, and then other random streams. And Mark Lewis is also in the chat. He plays too. He's got the T6 prize package, and I'm level 60. Enjoy playing. I will indeed. Mark Lewis, same question I asked Scott. What platform do you play on? PC, Xbox, or PlayStation?
I believe that SOCAT would be much more comfortable traveling by shuttlecraft. I have received clearance for you to land near the Ambassador's location. I look forward to meeting you in person.
It chooses for you. The Bajoran Science Freighter is what you got, says Mark. I don't know why I'm repeating them out. They do appear on stream. I'm so used to it. PlayStation. I've got accounts with like level 60s on all platforms at the moment. My PC can't. Well, it can run the game, but any fairly populated ground content, my PC can't really run it. As I'm not sure if you were here for it. My PC doesn't have a graphics card. I didn't have enough money to get the new PC, the software and everything, and the graphics card. I was going to get a graphics card later, and then cryptocurrency miners massively inflated the price of graphics cards, and I couldn't do it. But I can play the game. Most space content is fine. On PS4, I have a couple of level 60s, one for each class. I was waiting for the Agents of Yesterday DLC to come out, and I caught that a bit too late, so I didn't get the new launch stuff for that, which was a bit of a shame. And I've recently started it on Xbox. Alright, we're ready to land on Vulcan, sir. When are you ready to make our final approach? Let me know. On PS4, the ship that I'm currently flying on my engineer is... that looked like tier 8 there. I think I bought an Alta class heavy cruiser for my tactical. That may actually be... no, I think that's PC. I have an Eclipse Intel cruiser, and I recently bought a... maybe the Guardian cruiser? I'm not entirely sure, I'd have to check. Miracle Worker cruiser Scott class. I genuinely can't remember what the other ship I had. It may have been Yorktown, it may have been anything, I can't remember. It's been like over a year since I last played it on the PS4, so... on PC, I've got most of the lower tier ships. Most of them played with the Dilithium exchange rather than real money as well, which I was quite proud of.
Starfleet shuttlecraft, this is Vulcan Orbital Control. You are cleared to land at the requested coordinates. Welcome to Vulcan. Please enjoy your stay.
On PC, I was way back when that first came out. I played it for a while, ended up joining a fleet called Delta Fleet. If you're on PC, I don't know if you remember those guys. There was a lot of fun on that. I stopped playing for a while, and then ended up making my own fleet with a couple of friends. We didn't really play it often, it was just there so we wouldn't get kicked out of a fleet ourselves. On PS4, Do you remember? Did you start playing it when it first came out on PS4, Mark? And do you remember a fleet called the Imperial Fleet? Like the first 3 months of the game, it was the single biggest fleet in the game. I stopped playing for about a week for other reasons, and I came back and the fleet was completely deserted. And there was posts in the chat that something catastrophic had happened, a big misunderstanding. Everyone left expecting to have a new fleet made, and it was a bit crazy.
Welcome to Vulcan. Do you have any questions?
Tell me about Pajem.
Pajem is a small world near Andoria. It is sacred to our people. There have been Vulcans on Pajem for centuries. In 2152, the ancient buildings that housed our monastery were destroyed by the Andorians.
The Andorians? But they're also part of the Federation.
It was a failing in our logic that led to conflict with the Andorians. We have corrected our error. After the Federation was founded, a group of Andorians, Vulcans, and humans rebuilt the monastery as a symbol of peaceful coexistence and cooperation. Since then, a group of monks has lived there. They study the ideals of Sirach. Do you have any questions?
What business do you have at Pajem?
My business is my own. If you must know more, I require a meeting with the abbot. He will not use subspace communications. So if I am to receive his counsel, I need to meet with him directly. Do you have any questions?
Are you ready to leave?
This is ridiculous. Access to Pajem is strictly limited to preserve the sanctity of the monastery. No outsiders are permitted to land without the express permission of Savin, the leader of the Order of the Priest that maintains the planet. Ordinarily, this would not present any difficulty. But Savin has chosen this moment to illogically question my visiting the monastery. He is refusing to grant leave for me to meet with the abbot at Pajem.
Can this trip wait until Savin changes his mind?
If I do not complete my journey to Pajem now, I will have to delay it until after the trade conference at Corridon is complete. And that could take weeks.
I wonder why Savin wouldn't grant you permission.
I fear I've spent too much time off-world. While I find it easy to deal with others, my own people can be stubborn. Perhaps you could speak to Savin. I know he has a great deal of respect for Starfleet, and you might have an easier time than I have.
Your chess tournament is about to start. Nice chatting with you. Well, nice chatting with you too as well, Mark. After it's done, if I'm still playing, feel free to come back and say hi. Let me speak with Savin then. I might have more luck convincing him.
Peace and long life. Do you seek knowledge of the ancestors?
Soketh says you won't permit him to visit Pajem.
Sarketh accuses me of abandoning logic, but he is the one refusing to explain his reasons for wanting to go to Pajem. The planet is sacred. Our ancestors walked those paths. They found understanding and serenity in its quiet. When I am at Pajem, I feel more at peace than any place else in the galaxy. Pajem has been touched by outside influences in the past. The Federation is at war. Now more than any other time, we must protect this refuge. Do you seek knowledge of the ancestors?
Why do the Vulcans restrict access to Pajem?
Many years ago, Pajem was used for political purposes. Technology used to spy on the Andorians was hidden beneath the sacred sanctuary. It should never have happened. Buildings that had stood for 12 centuries were destroyed because we allowed politics and war in a place where there should only be logic and contemplative thought. When the monastery was rebuilt, we pledged to keep it safe from the cares of the galaxy. Only those who seek peace may enter. Do you seek knowledge of the ancestors?
The Vulcan people have monasteries?
Even a people who reject emotion require peace and contemplation. We are a spiritual people. Our rituals guide us throughout our lives. Vulcans who choose a life of study and isolation, as the monks at P'Jem have done, help us maintain our connection with our ancestors. The monks' study of Sirach's words in the Kirshara give us all a greater understanding of who we are and who we should strive to be.
Or equals Enterprise episode arc. If I remember right, is that the one where they find a research base? A secret Vulcan research base. I vaguely remember that episode, so...
Do you seek knowledge of the ancestors?
Tell me about Sirach.
Centuries ago, the Vulcans were creatures of emotion. We fought one another in a series of wars that devastated our planet. Our species was on the brink of annihilation. Sirach taught us to embrace peace and to put aside our emotions in favor of logic. Sirach ushered in a time of awakening on Vulcan. His writings, the Kirshara, shaped all that we are. Without Sirach, the Vulcans you know would not exist. Do you seek knowledge of the ancestors?
Don't you trust Ambassador Saketh?
I neither trust him nor distrust the Ambassador. I simply do not understand him. He will not reveal his reasons for wishing to speak to the Abbot, and has refused a mind meld with me. Normally I could respect his privacy, but other things I have heard trouble me. Do you seek knowledge of the ancestors?
Tell me more about what you have heard.
Saketh has spent more and more time away from Vulcan in recent years, and seems ill at ease in what was once his home. T'Pella admits he has changed in the past few months. He spends hours closeted in his study, and does not share meals with his staff as he used to. T'Pella says that the stress of the war with the Klingon Empire is taking its toll. She hopes the peace of P'Jem will restore him. Do you seek knowledge of the ancestors?
What if the Abbot agrees to speak with Saketh via subspace?
The monks do not use any unnecessary technology. Even replicators are not permitted on P'Jem. There is a communications array available to the monks for emergencies. Saketh's request does not qualify. Do you seek knowledge of the ancestors?
Is there any way I can persuade you to allow Saketh to visit P'Jem?
I will permit it if you will pledge to me, on your honor as a Starfleet officer, that you will protect P'Jem from harm. Saketh says his reasons for wanting to speak to the Abbot are private. I will accept that, but only if you are with him. I know I can trust Starfleet. Please, protect P'Jem from any who would violate its sanctity.
Indeed I will.
Do you have any questions?
I've spoken with Savin. Why doesn't he trust you?
How should I know? He is a small man with small concerns. Thankfully, he has listened to reason, and our journey won't be delayed any longer. I am ready to leave now. Is the shuttle prepared for departure?
A small man with small concerns? That really doesn't sound Vulcan.
But then, attend to the matter we are discussing earlier. I'm leaving with the captain to board the shuttle. Peace and long life.
Yes, Ambassador. Have a safe journey. Live long and prosper. Well, this way. Down these stairs. But I wouldn't give for a slinky right now. Well, they're not really stairs, it's a dirt path, but yeah, you get the idea. Lol, what are you laughing about? Was it the voice I decided to have Sir Kef speaking when I voice over for him.
Starfleet shuttlecraft, we have logged your flight trajectory, and you are cleared for departure. Live long and prosper.
Peace and long life. The jankiest piloting of a shuttlecraft I've ever seen.
I need to meditate and prepare for my meeting with the abbot at Pajem. If you have no objections, I will retire to my quarters. Please notify me when we have arrived at our destination. Once again, you have my gratitude for your assistance.
I usually play the game with the music turned off because after playing the game for years upon years, the music gets kind of annoying and grating. But I always get a perk up hearing to that trill. Do 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 do. Ambassador Saketh has retired to his quarters, Captain. We can leave the system whenever you like. I'll depart system. Let's get out of here. Perhaps if he wishes to keep up with the attitude, he could walk to Pajem. No, no, no. I'd put him in a spacesuit, tie a grappling line to his feet, and let him be dragged behind. We'll take him there, but we won't have to listen to him that way. Right, to Pajem. Pajem 1. Continue diplomatic orders. Sir, I'm picking up an unusual energy reading in the system. We should scan the system before we take the ambassador to the surface. Agreed. Sensors to maximum. Klingon ships decloaking, sir. Well, scrap. Captain, we are being hailed by the Klingons. Putting them on screen now.
You have a foul shape-changer aboard your ship. Turn the creature over to us, or we will destroy you.
Shape-changer? What do you mean?
That foul beast on your ship is an Undine. They put on a false face and try to control us, but we Klingons know better. We will hunt them down until the last of those honorless dogs dies screaming. My patience is limited. Speak quickly.
Tell me about these Undine.
The Undine come from a dimension known as fluidic space. They use quantum singularities to move into ours. Undine are telepathic and physically superior to humans. They see anyone from our dimension as an inferior life form. Even Klingons. Soon they will know how wrong they are.
So the Undine are species 8472, if you don't know anything else about them.
Undine have the technology to be a real threat to anyone, even the Borg. But the worst of their weapons is their ability to take our forms. The Undine have inserted themselves into every major power in the quadrant and seek to control us through trickery and misdirection. You must be vigilant.
Getting flashbacks to the Dominion War here.
My patience is limited. Speak quickly.
Why are the Undine here?
You tell me, Starfleet. It was your people who first encountered the Undine in the Delta Quadrant back when we knew them as Species 8472. Many among my people want to know just what you did to make them hate us so.
Well, we did kind of side with the Borg against them. But then again, Species 8472 are kind of dicks anyway, so...
My patience is limited. Speak quickly.
Do you have any proof of these accusations?
Do you doubt my word? Insult my honor? I have killed men for less. I have nothing to prove to the likes of you. Turn that so-called ambassador over to me now, or face the consequences.
And smell like lilac. Shields up, red alert. Well, isn't this a jolly fine mess you've got us into, Ambassador? Really thinking I should have actually dragged you here. Early ship combat, quite boring. Sir, sensors are showing multiple Klingon life signs on the surface. The monks may be in danger. I recommend that we send an away team down immediately. Alert the ambassador to meet the away team in the transporter room. Captain, the situation on the ground may be too dangerous for the ambassador on the surface. I recommend that he remains in his quarters until it is safe. Beam down and secure the monastery. It's just loading, 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 loading. Just loading, loading, loading. It's always loading, 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 loading. Captain, we need to secure the area and then make our way to the monastery, which is located on the top of the hill. Of course it's on the top of the hill. I'm reading multiple Klingon patrols between us and the main building, sir. Recommend we proceed with caution. Stay alert, we need to find the monks. Okay, let's make our way there and switch to my auto. Well, I don't really need to use the auto rifle just yet. At this point in the game, you really don't need, well, any tactics at all. Even playing on Elite, you won't really need much in the way of tactics. Things tend to melt. Can I talk to you? No? Okay. I feel sad now. You know, I think I was a little bit too far away for that to hit him. Let's try again. There we go. Ah, don't you just love the lock-on ability of the console ones? It hardly ever works. That's what I said before. I really miss tab targeting. It just worked. Medium high power and small power cell. All I can say is, say hello to my little friend. His name's Frederick. And he stings. Was the one hiding behind a tree? Talk to Vulcan Monk. I will attend to the wounded. You should go on the hill and talk to the abbot. Please, go to the monetary entrance and seek the abbot. I will, but there's a glowing barrel over here. A crate which I want to open. Ooh, Klingon. Rock blood pie. Nom 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 nom. I also think I gained some equipment in the inventory. Yes, I did. That's... I never use those. Plasma, I don't have plasma weapons. That I'll equip to me character. And then equip that to one of my other characters. This I'll equip to me ship, which doesn't appear, which is very strange. So I'll do them from the ship, I guess. So there was a shield, a warp core. Should have probably equipped that before if I had it, because I would have got here faster. Okay, that's pretty much everything. Well, I had an auto-firing weapon, and I was coming up behind them, and it felt right. Is that... I'm about to say, is that another glowing box? But there's something to scan over here. Trionium gas. Yes, there was a glowing crate. Incoming message. The message can wait. Cardassian Canal. I'm going to scan this floating rock, which is very reminiscent of Mass Effect Andromeda. They had floating rocks. It's one of the few cool things about the game. And sure, I finished the game, but still. Sir, we're receiving an alert from Vulcan. Tabel says she must speak to you immediately. I'll patch her through to your crycrawler. Yeah, your crycrawler. What is your preferred type of ground weapon? Follow-up question. What's your preferred energy type? Well, it depends what build I'm going for, because I usually have different builds depending on what ship I'm using. I'm going with a science ship, so I'll probably end up being phaser weapons and trying to spec for criticals. My favourite type of ground weapon? I've pretty much got the setup I like at the moment. I like an auto-fire rifle. It'll either be this or one of the minigun type weapons, and any kind of split beam rifle, so I can hit crowds. I usually play debuff based, so I'll debuff the whole group, then I'll go in, I'll have my entire away team with exposed weapons, usually the miniguns, so by the time I'm ready to use my split beam rifles, I usually carry 2 if I'm with an entire group of exposed ones. Then I'll just hopefully lay waste to people. When it gets later in the game, more options will open up, but that's basically the build I'm going to go through most of the game.
I have terrible news. Vulcan security forces have discovered the body of Ambassador Soketh. They have determined that he was killed by a phaser blast at short range. His remains were discovered in a stasis chamber hidden in a cavern beneath the Ambassador's residence. The Ambassador on your ship, the one that I have been working for, is an imposter.
Who would have thought? Yes, and you love your assault miniguns, you love Tetrons. Tetrons are the shield strippers, aren't they? I can see that, especially as later game enemies do tend to come with quite powerful shields. So I may switch to them. I do like how when the game skills had the overhaul, you no longer spec into a specific energy type, you can spec into all of them. I got to a point where I think I was starting to spec into Polaron at one point for either the energy level draining effects of them or the added criticals. I cannot remember. It's been a long time since I worked on making my builds.
You need to be very careful. This imposter was able to fool Soketh's closest associates for months. He is crafty and very patient. Now that he has been discovered, he will be dangerous.
On my my PS4, I have my engineering ship running all phases. I have the alternate universe. I've forgot what it's called. I know fans call it JJ verse, but there's an actual name they've called it in the game for the weapon sets. The basically the turret phases from the JJ movies. I have it set with 8 of those. Lots and lots of power to weapons and debuffs and stuff, so that when I go in close I can strip the enemies of pretty much not Terran Empire, the other universe, the one from the movies. It's on the tip of my tongue what it's called, but you know, the Kelvin timeline, that's the one. I've got 8 Kelvin timeline phases spec'd up to around Mach 13 and Mach 14. So I tend to do quite a lot of damage. Of course, certain enemies which are very resistant against phases takes a while to get them down because I don't have any torpedoes. But it also helps use my ship to draw enemies. It's quite a fun build, but it's somewhat limited if you're playing alone. Right. Captain, security teams have reached Ambassador Soketh's quarters, but he's gone. They're searching the ship, but... Sir, unauthorized use of transporters detected. The Vulcan government is requesting that the imposter Soketh be detained and returned to Vulcan for questioning. Sir, whoever used the transporters erased their logs, but I have a feeling that the imposter is on the planet's surface. I recommend we locate him immediately. We'll find him, Elsa. We'll find him.
Such emotion on your face. I see now my deception has been exposed. Pity. Capturing the abbot so we could replace him as well would have been beneficial. But we are strong. We will prevail.
No, you won't.
Weak, and the weak shall perish.
Yeah, I think it was around that time I'd converted enough dilithium ore into dilithium to buy a tier 6 ship through the dilithium exchange. And I went with the Intel cruiser because it had cloak. So my tactic on that was to stealth in, hit my buffs, and then just tear the whatever enemy I was facing apart with like the decloaking buff, my energy weapon buffs and all that stuff. It would strip enemies down like crazy.
Why should I trouble myself with such insignificant beings when the Klingons will do my work for me?
Of course, I tended to be kind of suicidal and do that in the middle of groups. So while I would usually kill a few and draw everyone's attention, I would probably die quite quickly after that.
Behind me. One of them is the foul shapeshifter. I'm returning to the ship. Don't let them leave this planet alive. Qapla'.
Yes, sir.
With this, my ship's going to be focused on exotic damage, things like Tychon's Rift and Gravity Well. I may also throw in one torpedo forward and aft for something like either high yield torpedo or torpedo spread, but that's later, much later. I mean, I'll probably have played the game for some 40 hours, so probably by about stream 15 at least. So I am hoping that at some point during these streams we find some people who are either willing to start over or are around the level that I am and can join us in streams, and we can do some of the levels together, because that's just plain fun. There's one reason I would like to grow the viewer base of my channel, so we can get a community and people who like playing the same games I do, and we can make like fleets and guilds on the games that we play. I'm also a member of a group, Daydreamer Gaming, who we play a lot of games. Most of them that are streamed on that channel at the moment are like group streams, but very few of them have time for an MMO or anything like that. I mean, we might play, say, Call of Duty or something like that. Games which are fairly quick to play. And Captain, it appears the Undine has eluded us. However, I'm picking up residual traces of transporter activity in the vicinity. I believe that the Undine may have beamed to a hidden ship in orbit. If he has a hidden ship, we'll find him. Recommend we return to the horizon and search for the Undine ship. We need to find the Undine and take it back to Starfleet. Beam up. We'll love to do that, sadly, on different platforms. Scott. However, I am at Hassan and 1943. Everyone's welcome to add me as friends. I think on PC, mine's at Littica. Although I don't often play on PC, because like I say, my PC doesn't really handle it very well. Oh, didn't get there in time. This fight, when you're playing this on Elite and the first one through, even with a couple of people, is quite hard. Because the Indian ship is basically a tier 4-5 ship. It's not easy to fight. As you can probably tell by the fact that I'm being torn apart. Also, I'm not going to call it a pro tip for late in game, but you'll find that you have quite a few spare like tier 1 skill slots for your bridge officers. I find that it's fairly pointless to have, like, say, tier 1 high yield torpedo or tier 1 torpedo spread or anything like that. Instead, put tactical team on, because then you can use it, and the tactical team will also then redistribute the shield strength, and they do it really, really quickly. So you can basically use it as an oh shit button. Something which has saved my life quite a lot. He won't leave me alone. All these big, powerful ships, and he ends up fighting the weak little Miranda. Although, to be fair, there is a Sabre class there as well. That hurt. That really hurt. So, time to run away. I'm not retreating, I'm advancing in the opposite direction. Yay for speed. Yay for raw speed equaling dodge. Hey, let's heal a little bit here, because I took a pounding. Yes, I was going to say take the time to mine this ore, but oh well. Things got a little hairy there for a second. Downloading the data now, Captain. Incoming message from the USS Challenger, Captain Marek. Incoming message.
This is Captain LaForge of the USS Challenger. Glad to see we made it here in time to lend you a hand. Perhaps you'll return the favor someday. LaForge out.
Oh my god. We've recovered the final data transmission from the Undine vessel, as well as samples of the organic material that was used to create the ship. We need to get all of this back to Starfleet intelligence. They may be able to decrypt the message and tell us more. Depart system. My ship looks a bit battered. Just a little bit. Surprising to think that one mission, 2 missions have taken an hour and a half. Gotta go. Cheers, LLAP.
Was an Undine?
See you, Scott.
If
If you haven't subscribed already, please do, and get notifications of when I'm streaming.
Congratulations, Lieutenant.
Level up. Should probably put some of them points into stuff and change my traits and stuff now. Now, let's give a quick explanation to the skills. You can put your points into anything. You could be a science officer who you stack your points into engineering if you wanted. You won't get as much out of it, but you can do it. As you put points into the science tech tree or any tech tree, immediately I'm going to put points into like my energy and projectiles because I want to do more damage at the moment. I don't really have the slots to equip anybody with anything exotic, so no point putting them there yet. But as you put more points in, you'll say you put 2 points in, you'll unlock this, like 5 this, 7 that and stuff. I'm not sure how many points, after choosing 12 ability points from that specialization, you'll unlock certain skills and then you can choose like different ones, faster sector space travel or faster transport cooldown, that kind of stuff. But if you were to you mix the things you have, you'd be able to get one up to about maybe here and the others to about here. You won't be able to go for the most powerful skills of that specific well, specialization, I guess. Which are these, like, let's get rid of that because it was in the way. Like, probability shell, hull healing and shield healing are also doubled. Focused frenzies improves cooldowns. So you can have one of these, and in the end you'll have all 3 of them, and they have sync abilities. You can get some really good stuff, or you can be like a jack of all trades, master of feck all, and go however you want. Of course, you can retrain your skills. It's not free. You do usually need either respec tokens or well, respec tokens. I'm not sure if you get any of them free, but I do know you can buy them from the Z store. So with some farming, you can get the Zen to do them. It may take some time, or if you've got the money for it, you can just buy one and respec. But I wouldn't expect them not to give you at least a respec token during playing the game. You also got ground skills as well. You can choose whichever ones you want. I'm probably going to go with kit performance, kit efficiency. So my my skills, like healing tricorder and sensor scan and all that kind of thing, that I can equip to my main character, they'll be more effective. They'll proc faster. Last longer and do more damage and stuff. You've got also endurance, which is like health. You've got weapon provisioning, which is a offense, and then you've got shields. Shields is a bit of a strange thing. You've got overall shields, and then you've got shield hardness, which is basically like maximum health versus defense. Basically, maximum capacity there and damage negated by shields, so shield hardness, which it would be. I think they've just changed it from shield hardness to shield resistance, but it's the same thing basically. And traits. Let's unequip all of my traits from ground and combat and go through them and see which ones are going to be good for, well, me. So, acute sense is aggressive, cold-blooded, covert, stealth and exploit damage. Yeah, it could be fairly good. Damage and debuff, damage to debuff targets. I'm going to have that on because I'm going to be going the debuff route. Lucky critical hit and exposed chance. I'm not sure I'm going to bother putting that on because I'm not going to be the one who is going to be working on exposing people. That's going to be my my crew, and I don't think that affects the crew. Magical Vanguard, your buffs and heals also now strength and shields. That's something we're going to want. Kit performance, we don't really have much in the way of kits yet, so we're not going to really need that. We'll probably equip that when we level up a bit more. These are the ones which are going to be, I won't say immediately effective. If I were going to go for immediately effective, I'll probably go for like rifle damage and kit readiness and like sure-footed, sturdy things which give me immediately benefits, which would probably be a good idea. So in fact, Let's get rid of that. Get rid of that because we don't need them yet. We don't have anything. So rifle training. So I've got rifles. Telepathic. It's improves exposure chance and duration. That's actually not bad. Increases exposure chance, but the exposed the extra duration. Does it say if it works on the entire crew? I don't think it does. Telekinetic will just knock them back. Sure-footed is something I want to want, so you don't get knocked over or rooted with stuff, because that can be a killer. Sturdy physical damage resistance and knockback resistance. Yes, that again. Like come end game, I may have some of these on, but I'm probably not going to like over specialise into them at that point. I don't know what I'm saying. I'll probably be able to explain more when I get to that point. Resistance or peak health, both are good. I'm going to soldier. At the moment, it's pretty much do more damage to them because they don't do a whole lot of damage to you. Accuracy is one you're going to always want because if you're not accurate enough, you just won't hit anything. Starship particle generators, flow capacitors, and sensors. That increases damage of exotic things. How quickly energy regenerates, which has been used, because when you fire your phasers, it takes away energy in that subsystem, and that regenerates. If you have like 4 phases firing at once, so that's a constant energy drain. It has a certain rate that it will regenerate back. It especially affects when you change to whatever subsystem is got all the energy in. Like in that last fight, I changed from energy to shields. You saw the if you probably noticed if you were to go back or were watching it, it increased fairly slowly. If that's if your flow generation is high, then that will increase faster. It will also affect how quickly you could drain energy from enemies if you have those particular skills, or which is also good to know how slowly you make the energy that they can drain from you. Because if that's up high, you can like resist energy drain effects, which is very good. Because if there's energy, yeah, exotic damage will be good for later. Warp core efficiency, all power levels when low power. I'm tempted to have that on, but I'm not going to go with elusive. Plus offense and defense is good. Increases hull regeneration and regen. Like I said before, it's probably best to go with damaging stuff at the moment. So, fleet coordinator based on team size. I don't have anybody who I really can play this with at the moment, so no. Kinetic defense specialist. One of the most dangerous things that's going to be for me at the moment is going to be if enemies manage to take my shields down and there's a torpedo coming towards me, especially a high yield torpedo. Especially a high yield plasma torpedo. If I don't manage to shoot one of them out, they can do massive damage, so we're having that. Of course, I'm going to also look at the other skills quickly. Core potential and EPS, that's another one which increases like energy transfer rate. Electroplasma system flow improves transfer rate, yeah. Prolific flight and full speed, impulse speed. That's good if your ship uses a lot of speed for evades and stuff, but it'd be good for say escorts, but I'm not going to be using that a whole lot. They're going to be ones I'm going to have later. Projectile, probably that as well. I may have them, but probably not. Crit chance and severity. It all depends on what build I'm going. If I was going on something which shoots a hell of a lot, especially something which had like all phases, having as high proc chance of a critical is going to be something I would want, because the difference between doing 1 or 2 criticals or doing like 10 or 11 criticals in like a 10-second period is freaking huge. You can increase your damage on one ship from, say, 100,000 to nearly 220,000 just from having a fairly decent crit rate. You also add in weapons which have crit severity on them, and you can do 3 times as much damage as what you would normally do. But speccing yourself out that way takes some time and effort, because you've got to get the right weapons and get the right weapons which have the right perks, and getting legendary, well, they're not legendary class unless it's rare, very rare, and ultra rare and stuff like that. But I would hope you'd get my meaning. I know I'm not articulating it very well. I ramble. I ramble a lot. But anyway, next mission. Do I actually have a next mission? Or am I not leveled up enough? Yes, I'm not leveled up enough. I need to be level 4. Or Lieutenant level 1. Which I actually think I am. I may have to go somewhere else for it to register that. Why would I want to put... I don't know why it's not showing me on some of these. It's like... whatever the last update is, or a couple of updates have screwed some of the interface stuff up, because you'll equip this, you want to equip it on the whole team, but you for some reason don't appear here, just the away team. Well, just your bridge officers, which is kind of stupid. It seems one thing I have noticed about this game, for all the things they managed to fix, they also managed to screw just as many things up with each update. But what you gonna do? Hey, re-engineer, or is it? Oh yeah, re-engineer will change the effect on it. That's got 20% critical severity. If I were to re-engineer that, I think it'd have a random. It could be like accuracy, chance to crit, anything like that. Upgrade, of course, will take a tier 2 and make it a tier 3. But you need check upgrades, which I haven't got any, and you also use dilithium. So it's pretty much just replicate them. Recycle, not replicate, yes. Just recycle the stuff we don't need, even if we don't really get any money for them. Yeah, I could put that on the exchange, but I doubt I'd really get anything for it, so let's just basically get rid of all the stuff that's clogging up our inventory. Which there is quite a few things. So if the next mission, at what level am I? Captain Lieutenant 5. So the next mission, it's now shown up. Hide and seek.
This mission briefing is classified. I've been working with Starfleet intelligence to crack the Undine coded message you found at Pajem. We think we have something. There are several references to the Paulson Nebula in the data. Starfleet needs you to survey the nebula and find out why the Undine have an interest in it. Be careful. I've been in that nebula before. The composition of the clouds may screen opponents from your sensors.
Oh, it is nice to see some of the actors in the game which weren't here the first time I went through it. I think for either the last big updates, content, DLC, whatever, added a good old Geordie in. I'd say his real name, but I can't remember it. I'm awful with names like that. And also the manual Tactical Beam Fire at Will 1. I'd probably let one of my people learn it, but it's not really a skill I'm going to be using. Not with this particular character. So let's make our way to the Lackey system. Slowly make our way to the Lackey system. Roll on. Lieutenant Commander, rank 1. And I can get me new ship. Yes, if you've never played it, the ranks go, you have Cadet, which you had through the tutorial, then you became a Lieutenant, then it'll be Lieutenant Commander, then it'll be Commander, then Captain, then Rear Admiral lower half, Rear Admiral higher half, then I think it goes to Vice Admiral, then Fleet Admiral. It used to be slightly different. You had like Lieutenant, and then you would have grade 1 to 12 of Lieutenant, then it'd go up that way. Of course, there would be 12 levels there rather than 10, so changing it this way, so every grading, every rank you increase with 10 levels rather than 12, probably made it easier for some people to understand. Anyway, we are receiving a distress signal from the USS Valor. They are under attack by Gorn and their shields are failing. Captain, they can't take much more. Signal the Valor that we are on our way. We're on our way. We're very, very, very close. In fact, we're here! Ooh, some slowdown from all of these asteroids. One thing, well, another thing I prefer about PC games, if it's like this, and you get slowdown,
Our ship is
you
on
can
a
decrease the
mission
draw
to
distance,
map
but you
the
can't on
Alpha
consoles,
Nebula.
which is a shame.
Unfortunately, we failed to adequately compensate for the power drain the Nebula had on our engines. We retreated from the Nebula to make repairs. That's when we stumbled upon an illegal Gorn mining operation.
Presumably, the Gorn didn't take that well.
If you hadn't shown up when you did, we'd be sucking vacuum. Our chief engineer says there's no way we can make it back to a starbase. In fact, without new dilithium crystals, we're stuck.
Well, sounds like we arrived just in time.
There are crystals on some of the larger asteroids here. That's why we headed for this location in the first place. If you could gather some crystals for us, we can make it to safety. Send us a hail if you have any questions about the nebula. We would be happy to share our data.
We can't give you any dilithium without shutting down our engines, which is too risky. We'll collect some dilithium from the asteroids. One thing I have noticed between, I don't know if it's between the controls of Xbox and PlayStation 4, or just if my PS4 controller is old, decrepit and starting to fail, but moving through the menus, there was a lot of instances on when I was playing on PS4 to accidentally do this. So when you wanted to just move to this menu, you'd accidentally double tap, even though you'd press the button once. I don't know if it was the settings of the menus and stuff were overly sensitive, but there would be a lot of that, and it could be annoying when you were trying to do something quickly and like quickly go to inventory or quickly get skills, and you just suddenly find yourself in this menu, and it got quite annoying at times. I mean, why they didn't just, because both Xbox and PlayStation 4 can receive mouse and keyboard inputs. I mean, if you've ever played Final Fantasy XIV on PS4 or Xbox One, because you can get them for it, they accept mouse and keyboard. I mean, when I had an active Final Fantasy XIV subscription way back when me and Finn Steele used to play it, I played it on on PlayStation 4 with mouse and keyboard, and it worked fine. So I don't see why they wouldn't allow you to have, well, you to choose between using mouse and keyboard on the consoles or using this interface, because I still vastly prefer PC control system to console control system. you have, ironically, more control. And one thing of rather extreme note is on PC you can alter the energy levels. So you can see I've got 80% on phasers, 50% on shields, 52% because of skills. But you could change them how you wanted them and then set them as the preset. So you could have 100 on phasers, 30 on shield, and say 50 on engines. So you could set it how you would want it. On this you can't. You've got the presets and that's it. And that's something that they haven't changed, even though a lot of people complain about it. But they learn to live with it, I guess, which is again a bit of a shame. Oh, the frame rate in there is so good. Probably drops to about 20 frames. Now I'm still a bit far away, I can get a little closer. I thought that said Tusken Raider cruiser then. Bit weird. So here's a question for anyone in the chat who's watching this later. Have you gone back and played or installed any of the old early 2000s MMOs recently? There's been a new server launch for the MMO 4 Story. I never played 4 Story, but I did play one of the other MMOs that company had. I don't know if they developed it or they just hosted it, but I did play Runes of Magic when that first came out for a while. Quite enjoyed that back then. And with the new 4 Story server launching, I thought I'll give that a try. And I installed it, played it for 5 minutes and uninstalled it because, oh my god, the interface on that was... Well, the interface itself wasn't bad. You could tell it was like an old late 1990s, early 2000s model. They'd done nothing to update it.
We're in your debt.
It sucks,
This is
basically.
enough dilithium to get our warp engines restarted. After we finish preliminary repairs, we'll set course for Starbase 157.
It's also one of them games where, while it did support higher resolutions like 1920 by 1080, back then it really wasn't made for it. So I've got a fairly decent sized TV in front of me that I'm playing this on. At 1080 by 1080p resolution, the text on it was so small it actually looked blurry, and I just couldn't play it like that. Not to mention the controls felt weird. It was just set up strangely, and I did not like it at all.
If you want to go into the Paulson Nebula, your engines will need a boost. I recommend you visit Lackey 3. The Gorn drove out the Federation miners there and took over a decalithium processing facility. It's only fair that you take some of our crystals back.
I mean, I challenge you to, if you've got used to it, pretty much any modern MMO, to go back, look for a server of, even if it's a private server, of one of the old games you used to play and enjoy. MMOs from like the early 2000s. And the interface, you'll find there are so many things on newer MMOs that you just take for granted because they're there, and the fit and the work that just aren't on the older ones, which they're so ease of life things that you don't really think of when you play them, but when they're gone, you think, how did I survive playing games without them. There's a lot of games that I was considering, like maybe going looking for a private server on, which I'm just not going to anymore, because it would literally drive me insane trying to play it. I mean, I might try RF Online again, just to see what that's like now that it's been like years. That was nearly 2001 that I enjoyed playing way back, but I think that had a very good interface from even back then. Alright, thanks for your advice, Vala. Horizon out. Warp to Lackey Free. What happened to the fanfare? It went do 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 and then stopped. Okay. Captain, the Decalithium processing facility is dead ahead. The Gorn have numerous structures in the debris field, sir. We're also picking up several fighters and frigates. Situational analysis. They know they're in Federation territory and they're trying to protect their ill-gotten gains. I advise we approach with caution. Retrieve the Decalithium from the processing facilities. Don't really need full impulse there. Or maybe I do, because it's slightly faster than me. It's not a lot of full impulse. Beam the Decalithium on board. Some kind of interference field is preventing transporter lock. Yes, okay. Lieutenant, we can't get a lock on the Decalithium. Something's jamming our ability to lock on and beam it up. Probably a nearby jamming station. Detecting some suspicious tachyon emissions and signs of Klingon technology. This is more than a simple Gorn mining operation. We need to destroy that jamming station and get the Decalithium. We might not be able to beam the Decalithium up, but it would stop us from it wouldn't stop us from beaming down a spatial charge. Prepare spatial charges. Signal a warning as we beam them to the station. We're beaming down explosives. Get out of the way or die. The charges are prepared and we will beam them over as soon as we are in transporter range. A general warning broadcast will signal just before we start the transport. Let's destroy the Gorn station after we destroy the cruiser. Accolade complete. Try condemn. I should probably move. Evasive maneuvers 1. It's not much of a boost, but it can turn you around. I tend to use that more for... Oh, they walked out. I tend to use evasive maneuvers 1 more for positioning my rather a bulky, slow-turning ship than I do for actually evading stuff. So it's just not big enough boost when you've only got like 25 in your engines, because it... Can I actually see what it says here? Yeah. It increases flight speed and turn rate by 300%. Well, turn rate by 600% because I think it's got 2 of them on. But yeah, by increasing your move rate when it's at 25%, by tripling that, it's really not much of an increase at all. I mean, I'd show you if I could, like, doesn't have a mouse, or can't move my mouse down and hold it over the my engine speed. That would then show you how fast I'm going. But At 25 engines, I'll probably be moving like 12 speed, but at as this gets up at 50%, I'm probably moving closer to 30, and at full, I'm probably moving like 50. So tripling that compared to tripling it at 25%, it's a very big difference. So you can probably tell already by just how low, how slowly I'm turning. I'm going to switch back to engine. You'll see turning sharper or moving faster already. Cruisers have the slowest turning circle. Escorts have the fastest because they are pretty much little cannon-using gunships. Science vessels are somewhere in the middle. They have decent handling, fewer weapons, but they usually have the greatest shield modifiers, which is great early game, but late game when shields aren't really as protective as you would think, they get stripped very quickly, especially if you're facing Borg, because they have things which just take your shields away like that. Wait, warp to Paulson Nebula. Probably going to end this soon. I've been fairly sick, so I've been asleep for most of the day, but I've been awake for the past like 6 hours and haven't had out to eat yet, and I'm getting really hungry. My stomach is trying to eat itself. Captain, scanners show that the amount of metallic density of this region is much higher than would be expected for a nebula of this class. There's definitely something big here, and it might be hidden on another high-density object. We should scan all high-density objects in the vicinity. Take up. Klingons have a listening post somewhere. The mine is played out and abandoned. Let's destroy these bird of play. Destroy these bird of plays and then scan that satellite. Klingon ships, about 90% of them, even ones which aren't fast as escorts, move like escorts, like bird of prey. A lot faster than Federation stuff. Romulans are mostly like that as well. Most of their ships also have battle cloaks, but they can cloak mid-battle. Only the small bird of prey Klingon vessels can do that. But when you get to the last tier of Romulan ships, there's only one time, the Daedalus. I think that's how it's pronounced. I only want one, not counting like the tier 5 and 6 ships. And it's a big, bulky. When me and my friend Genesis played the Romulans when they first came out, we got to that point and we're both somewhat disappointed because what's a nice ship, big ship, it handles like a brick, basically just like a Federation cruiser. And with respect for, well, cannons and not being able to turn very quickly really affected us quite badly. Ow. Mines. Spam R2, spam R2. Or right trigger. Mines can be quite deadly. Actually having this on speed may not be that bad of an idea, because I do have what's it called? Tetron beam, which does strip enemy shields, and I can use my, at least in this ship at the moment, I can use my speed to, well, get around and get in position, and use my high yield torpedo after I've used my Tetron beam to just destroy their hull very quickly. Which is an idea. Yeah, if you're trying to scan anything, if you fire your weapons, you stop scanning, which isn't actually what happens in the series, but what are you going to do? Now, mines seem to do pretty much direct hull damage. It doesn't matter about your shields. Or they don't do direct hull damage, they just do kinetic damage, which goes through shields, apparently, or something. Or they just do a ridiculous amount of damage, and our shields don't hold you back, because certain shields, you have different kinds. You have standard shields, you have resistant shields, you have regenerative shields. All have different bonuses. Like regenerative shields might have a lot less capacity, whereas covariant shields will have a higher capacity, but they have bleed through. My favourite type of shields are resilient shields. They don't have as much capacity, they don't have as much regenerate, but they have, rather than 10% pass through, so your hull will take 10% of the damage your shield's blocked, they'll only take 5%. I shot the floor, and the floor won. I shot the floor, and the floor won. Ooh, nice one, Colette. I don't know if they've done something to the hitboxes, but just like shooting in the general direction in this mode before would like hit them. I could like be aiming there, and it would still hit the guy. Not so much anymore. You have to be more accurate, which I could understand if you're using mouse and keyboard in that mode, but when you're using this, yeah. I wouldn't mind it so much if once you'd locked onto something, they stay locked on. But like that, if there were still people there, it wouldn't automatically lock on all the time. It's not the best system. Not the best system at all. He's ran down there and accidentally shot at my person. Oh well. He stabbed me. I jumped and hit him. There are melee weapons in the game you can get as well. So, hey, what are you gonna do? We can upload these records to our computers for analysis, sir, but it will take some time. We'll need to defend the core until the download is complete. Begin transmission. Now on PC, you can direct where your people will go. Like you press 1. Like that, but you can do it with each individual person. I think you can do it as well here by pressing up on one person and then like that, or up on one person and then that. Yeah, it's annoying doing it this way because it's not really all that responsive. But hey, you can set the people up and then you can have them like hiding behind them when they appear in. It's a fairly decent way to survive on the harder difficulties, but trying to do it on PS4 with a controller, it's really not very well done. So again, while I would have preferred mouse and keyboard options, we downloaded the data. Don't mind me, I'm getting a bit tetchy because I'm getting hungry. Anyway, we've downloaded the data, sir. I recommend that we get to the Starfleet intelligence as soon as possible. Mark to Horizon. The away team is ready to beam up. And let's depart the system. I don't know if this quest is over now, but it might be. Could be. Yeah, this part of the mission at least is over.
Well done. Starfleet will analyze the data from the listening post, and with luck, there will be something there that will help us in our fight against the Klingons.
Thank you, Geordie. That's what I mentioned in the last episode, if you were here or watched it, or watching it after. Captains seem to have, like, the white layer on top. It is a good way to differentiate, because in pretty much all the other series, Captain's uniform were exactly the same as pretty much the rest of the crew. Although I think Command Track had red, rather than, like, Command officers had like the red. Science and Medical had blue. I'm not sure if there was a different shade for Medical or Science. Then you had Engineerings, which were yellow. Of course, on the original series it was different the way around, but I do like having, like, the captain will wear something to differentiate, like the white.
Congratulations, Lieutenant.
Stop the signal.
We've decrypted some of the information you found at the Klingon listening post in the Paulson Nebula, and Starfleet Intelligence believes there is at least one more of those posts out there. We have the location of a signal repeater which boosts the subspace transmissions from these listening posts. Starfleet wants you to go to the Bamari system, find the signal repeater, and use it to track down the coordinates of the other listening post. When you have the location, transport a team down to the surface and take it out. We can provide you with spatial charges to get the job done. Good luck out there. The Klingons won't give this post up easily.
No, they won't. Accept and end it here. I've been streaming for like a couple of hours, and like I said, I'm getting really hungry. My stomach won't shut up. So I'll finish this. I would stream again afterwards, but it's 9 o'clock here. I'll probably won't be finished until about 10, and then people will be going to bed, and I don't want to keep them up. So yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you want to see more, do comment. Let me know. Like, join me again. I'll be streaming either Wednesday at between 6 and 7 o'clock. Well, from 6 and 7 o'clock until about 9 or 10 o'clock. Or on Thursday. I may be doing things on Daydreamer Gaming tomorrow, so I may not be on then. Please do subscribe, share the videos with your friends, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.